The Chargers say they still do not have a plan of attack for the offseason. We'll explain why the Rams prefer not to go to Indianapolis, which should be self-explanatory, and an untimely injury could change the Kings' trade deadline needs. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos Morning Report. So, it is February 28, 2024. Looks pretty good outside. I think I'm going to go enjoy some fresh air in a moment. But before we do that, let's talk LA sports. And if you like being in the know about LA, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It lets you know we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And by all means, comment. Now, before we go through the news and notes, a look at the scoreboard. Calgary 4, Kings 2. Look, the Kings lose on back-to-back nights. Kevin Fiala scored his 17th goal. We're going to talk more about the Kings in a moment because Monday night they took a hit, and it wasn't just losing to Edmonton. Meanwhile, today, the Clippers and the Lakers will face off at 7 o'clock. It's a Clippers home game. Paul George will not play tonight. His left knee is sore. Meanwhile, keep your eye on LeBron James, as if the press doesn't try to force your eyes on him as it is. The man is less than 100 points away from being the only player in NBA history to reach 40,000. And regardless of what you may think of him with his politics or whatever else, that is absolutely remarkable. So, let's get to the news. Chargers general manager Joe Ortiz met the scribes at the scouting combine over in Indianapolis, but he did not comment much on the futures of wide receivers Keenan Allen or Mike Williams. Same for the edge rushers Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa. He said that because the salary cap turned out to be much higher than expected, that this obviously recalibrates what the Bolts have to do or could do. As a result, they don't know what they're going to do this offseason just yet. So that's a little troubling. It's good that they have this problem now because before they were like really up poop creek. But yeah, recalibrating can be an issue, I suppose. Now, I have to be frank, I don't think it's all that difficult to recalibrate. This is just my own opinion. I think Ortiz can afford to be a little cold-blooded in one sense. Look at Keenan Allen. He said that he would consider retirement if he does not return to the Bolts. Maybe that means you can be cold-blooded and talk him into a pay cut. By the way, we also learned that Jim Harbaugh now has a 30-man coaching staff. In a related story, the federal unemployment rate is remained at 3.7. 30 people. It's like, what is it now? The main factors that keep the economy afloat are the healthcare industry and getting employed by the LA Chargers. 30 people on the coaching staff. Biden and Harris ought to be sending that guy a thank you note for keeping the economy afloat out in Southern California. 30-man coaching staff. Wow. Now, I make no predictions about what the Chargers are going to do at center. You know, Corey Linsley is saying there's a 99.9% chance he's retiring. But I do want to give you the lay of the land at that particular position. Because in my opinion, the Bolts had a very solid offensive line. Way more solid than the national press is claiming that the Chargers' offensive line is now. But with Linsley missing all but the first 3 games, that was literally like watching the implosion of an old busted up baseball stadium. When you don't have a center, the center is not only the guy who's basically taken on the nose tackle. His responsibilities include communicating with all the other offensive linemen who they're going to block to make sure that there's enough of a seam for a running back, enough protection for the quarterback. You get rid of a quality one like Linsley, and then by the end of the year, the Chargers were down to their 3rd string center. It doesn't matter how good the guards or the tackles are. There's going to be miscommunication. There's going to be problems. So to me, again, my opinion, You get rid of a good center, and then all of a sudden, players who could be damn fine at their job aren't that damn fine at their job. I don't believe that the Chargers will be bringing back Will Clapp, who is a free agent. I don't think that's going to be, they might bring him back, but I don't think that is the answer, because it wasn't the answer when the guy had a 12 game tryout after Lindsley left the team. Third stringer Brendan Hymas replaced Clapp when he got hurt. That wasn't the answer either. So what's left? Draft pundits claim that there are two centers in the draft who could start right away. Jackson Powers Johnson of Oregon, Zach Frazier of West Virginia. The odds are decent that at least one of them will be available by the time the Chargers pick in the second round, but not in the third. Meanwhile, there are 7 decent centers in free agency. This would include what could be a fun little bidding war for the Rams' Coleman Shelton. How about 2 from inside the AFC West? Andre James from the Raiders, Denver's Lloyd Cushenberry. This position, in my opinion, is one of the Chargers' absolute top priorities. I would even argue it being more so than keeping both wide receivers, than keeping both edge rushers. You don't have a good offensive line, Justin Herbert is going to be put under the turf at SoFi Stadium. So, just listed some potential solutions that you might want to keep your eye on. You get yourself a good center, all of a sudden, all the scribes are saying, wow, look at the entire Chargers offensive line rebounding. Yeah, no kidding. We have mentioned multiple times in the last week that the Rams have a very rammy way of doing things. Effing their picks, skipping the combine. Now today I do not want to talk about effing the picks because we've already talked repeatedly about effing the picks. Instead, there's actually a reason why the Rams stay at home and would prefer to watch the combine on the NFL Network, as opposed to flying to Indianapolis. And again, I've been to Indianapolis. You don't want to be in Indianapolis. To be clear, the Rams will be sending medical staff to the combine to examine the prospects, make sure that they're not going to be injury prone, etc. But the coaches and scouts stay home. Rams COO Kevin DeMoff said that back in 2019, the Rams, they get to the Super Bowl, they lose to New England. Tough time. But because that season extended for so long, Sean McVay had too little time to prepare to go to the combine. Then you go the next year. The Rams hired Brandon Staley as defensive coordinator, and McVay wanted to make sure that Staley got off on the right foot. Then one more year, 2021, the event got canceled due to COVID. Now by that time, McVay is like, well, I haven't been to this place in 3 years. Screw it. So McVay told the press when they did not go to Indianapolis, or I should say, let me rephrase. McVay also wound up telling the scribes that when they did go to Indianapolis, it was way too much time being spent BSing while knocking down grub at the local steakhouse and not enough time in the film room. By staying home, the Rams are actually spending more time in the film room evaluating. And by the way, skipping the combine is something that is catching on. 6 other coaching staffs around the NFL have stepped out on the combine. So, might not be such a bad idea. DeMoff also told the LA Times that he told both general manager Les Snead and McVay to, quote, dream big, get crazy, and have an offseason. I know we have the ability to do anything we want, and that's a position we haven't been in a while, unquote. So, at least there's a possibility the Rams could do big things in the next couple of months. Adrian Kempe, one of the Kings' most effective offensive threats, suffered the dreaded upper body injury in Edmonton on Monday, and as a result, did not play in last night's game in Calgary. Matter of fact, he's done for the trip. That means at least one more game over in Vancouver. The underwhelming Pierre-Luc Dubois will most likely be promoted to the top line, but we got to be honest, when you're looking at Pierre-Luc Dubois, it's not exactly how you say, oh, next man up, right? Kempe was flown back to LA to be reevaluated. Now, we don't have enough information to go on, but if you're being flown back to be medically evaluated, that's not good. That means they're thinking about how long is this guy going to be out. Look, you take him to the local urgent clinic, right? Oh, he's out. He just put some ice on it. It's a day or two. You have to be flown all the way back to another country to get evaluated. You could be out for quite a while. And as such, this could pose a problem for what the Kings could do at the trade deadline. Because until now, the idea that everybody believed about the Kings was all they had to do was upgrade a goalie. They're deep on defense, deep at forward, but now they're having trouble scoring. And they either way, whether it's for goalie or forward, they don't even have enough salary cap space to shop at CarMax, much less acquire two elite players. Lakers coach Darvin Ham said there is no timetable for the return of either Gabriel Vincent or Jared Vanderbilt. The timeline that was originally set for Vincent was 8 weeks after surgery to his left knee. It's already been more than 8 weeks. And by the way, Vanderbilt has a right foot strain. Ham also told the LA Daily News that the team spent Tuesday's practice looking at clips of their rebounding, which apparently was more of a blooper reel than highlights. The Lakers have conceded at least 14 offensive rebounds in each of their last 3 games. That would be since the All-Star break. And this, in turn, has led to an average of 19.3 second chance points conceded. In other words, you're giving a team damn near a quarter worth of points, just gift wrapping it to them because you're not boxing out when it's time for a rebound. The Galaxy have appealed a red card given to Mark Delgado in the 87th minute of the season opener against Inter Miami on Sunday. Delgado, by the way, did not earn a straight red. It was for his second yellow. Video replays show that Delgado's slide tackle did not bring down Miami's Sergio Busquets. I don't know how to pronounce that guy's name, to hell with it. In fact, Delgado slid past the guy and the Miami player flopped, frankly, like it was an NBA game. Now, you can appeal a red card that's straight, like a slide tackle that's way too violent and the guy gets thrown out. You can appeal that. You cannot appeal, or I should say, you cannot go to video review for yellow cards. So the Galaxy had no option to keep Delgado in the game for that game. And that was damaging because at the time the Galaxy led 1-0. The Galaxy had to play shorthanded against Lionel Messi. Here's a shocker, Lionel Messi took advantage. I say all of this, however, not to complain about the refs. Bad calls are a part of every sport. It sucks. It's a part of every sport. But I have to say, it needs to be mentioned that Major League Soccer is in a labor dispute with its normal referees. And because the referees were not available for the game, MLS simply pulled some randos off of your local AYSO pitch. The reason that this matters is because a red card disqualifies you from the next match. And so what the Galaxy are basically saying is, look, you guys bleeped this over Sunday. We can't do anything about that spilled milk. Can we at least have our player back for the next game, Saturday in San Jose, over this ridiculous phantom illegal slide tackle? Could you swing that for us, please? But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. What would you do if you were running the Chargers? For that matter, what the heck would you do if you're running the Rams? And if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day here. Thanks for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corte El Queso production. Take care.